creativity.
Hello dears! We are here in the last episode of our last unit 12. In this episode, we are going to talk about 1. Accidental discoveries. 2. Listening. 3. Pronunciation.
Seeing the possibilities. Many great discoveries were made while scientists were researching something else. We say they happened by accident, but the scientists were clever enough to recognize the importance of something strange or unusual.
They used a combination of imagination and knowledge to understand the importance of what they found. As the inventor Art Fry said, "The more you learn, the more you are able to see."
X-rays. Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, German physicist, 1845-1923.
If you have an injury, doctors will give you an X-ray to look for broken bones. But X-rays were only discovered in 1895.
Röntgen was actually studying the rays which we use for TV screens and fluorescent light. He wanted to see if the rays could escape from a glass tube, so he covered it with black cardboard.
Suddenly, he noticed a light a meter away on a screen. The cardboard has a hole in it, he thought, but it didn't.
Then he realized that rays of light were actually passing through the cardboard. He then discovered that he could see the bones and wedding ring of his wife's hand using the rays. That was the first X-ray. Penicillin. Alexander Fleming, Scottish scientist, 1881-1955.
In 1922, Fleming was doing some research into diseases. He noticed that one of his dishes had mold on it. Mold is a soft brown or green substance that grows on old food.
Normally, Fleming would throw moldy dishes away, but instead, he decided to experiment. Under the microscope, he saw that the mold was killing a very dangerous bacteria, very small living thing.
The mold was called Penicillium notatum. Fleming discovered that it produced a chemical that killed the bacteria.
Other scientists worked to make penicillin useful. Today, we can treat serious illnesses because of Fleming's accidental discovery.
Having been brought up on a farm in Scotland, scientist Alexander Fleming wasn't afraid of getting his hands dirty, examining nasty bacteria like Staphylococcus aureus, which in humans as well as horses can cause death as well as vomiting and boils. One day in 1928, Fleming came back from his holidays. He found some cultures of the Staphylococcus aureus bacteria, which he'd meant to throw away, had died. But instead of throwing them away, he stopped to think what might have caused some of his sample to die and the rest to live. After a lot of time and effort in his lab, Fleming worked out that some of his sample had been contaminated by a particular fungus, which he then managed to grow himself. Penicillin. It was ready for public consumption in time for the next war on D-Day. Penicillin has saved the lives of millions of people and horses. But due to overuse, some bacteria is becoming resistant, and methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus is now widespread among humans.
Now, let's check our comprehension by answering this question. Decide if the sentences are true, T, or false, F.
1. Knowledge and education help scientists come up with new ideas. True. 2. X-rays were discovered over 100 years ago. True. Röntgen invented the TV screen. False. 4. The X-rays went through a hole in the cardboard. False. 5. Fleming was experimenting on diseases when he discovered penicillin. True. 6. The penicillin mold killed the bacteria. True.
Now, let's listen to some advice about how to be creative.
Do you want to be more creative? Well, today we're talking to Lee Johnson. He's written a book called How to Improve Your Creativity. So Lee, is it important to be more creative? Absolutely. Everybody has the potential to be a creative person. Do you have any advice for people to follow?
Yes, I do. I have 6 simple rules for how to be more creative. I call these the 6 secrets of creativity. What's rule number 1? Always carry a small notebook and a pen or pencil. If you have an idea, write it down immediately. 90% of your ideas could be silly. Don't worry. 10% of your ideas could be brilliant.
That sounds like a very good idea. I often think of a good idea, but I haven't got anywhere to write it down. So what happens? I forget it. So what's rule number 2? Go for a walk. A change of place is always good for your mind, and exercise gives more energy to your brain. Rule 3 is connected to this idea. Read a lot of books. Reading gives your brain a lot of information, and books can give you inspiration. Is watching TV a good idea? No, it isn't. It's a very bad idea. Rule number 4 is don't watch a lot of TV. It isn't good for your brain. Your brain needs exercise, just like the rest of your body. So rule 5 is exercise your brain. Play chess, talk to people, do crosswords. You'll be more creative if your brain is fit. And what's your final rule, Lee? My last rule is probably the most important. Have a positive attitude. If you're positive, then you'll be able to do lots of different things.
Thank you, Lee. That's very interesting advice. Thank you. And remember, everybody can be creative.
Now, let's go to our last station, pronunciation.
Word. 1. Work. 2. Turn. 3. Research. 4. Learn. 5. Verse. 6. Bird.
My dear students, I hope you had a nice time with us. We finished our books by this episode. Study very hard. Good luck.